Alrighty, might as well get started. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Technically afternoon, it's 12:03, that counts. Thank you to everyone who has registered and is attending our first official Women in Automotive online event today, the basics of Instagram with me. So for those who don't know me, my name is Isabella Mitzi. I'm the marketing coordinator for Women in Automotive. I've been here for just under a year, and I work side by side with our fearless leader, Dr. Imogen Reid. And today I'm going to take you through some of the basic tips and navigational points for using Instagram as a business and how you can allow your business to have a better presence online. So if you've been to any of our in-person events or if you've received any of our newsletters on email, you may have read or seen about me here or there. But like I mentioned, I'm the marketing coordinator. So I do manage our social media, including our Instagram. I've also got a communications PR degree and I have worked in social media previously. So I do know a little bit about what I'm saying, but hopefully it's enough to help broaden your horizons on the topic today. Now, like I mentioned, this is our first online event. So if there are technical difficulties, I do apologize in advance. I'll try my hardest. I have tested this with about 12 different people in our office today. But again, if there's any issues, please just hold while we fix them. I'm just going to quickly share my PowerPoint screen. Let's see here. Okay. Once it goes into the PowerPoint view, there we are. Now, I believe you should be able to see my camera still on the side. If you can't, you can always hover over the camera and try to pin my screen to the top. So if you hover over your camera, there's 3 drop-down dots. You can select to pin that video or my video to the top and you should be able to see me then. So let's get started, shall we? Now, for those people who aren't already a member of Women in Automotive, I did want to quickly just touch on who we are and what we do. So I'm just going to do that quickly now for you. So, Women in Automotive, we're actually an initiative of the Victorian Automobile Chamber of Commerce, or the VACC. We've been operating for over 20 years, and we've also... Oops, sorry, I'm meeting a few more people. We've also recently had a bit more of a kick, and in the last 1.5 to 2 years, we've really stepped up our presence. And one of the ways that we're doing that is through events like this today. So our main reason that we exist is to act as an advocate and a bit of a support for women who work across the industry. So we aim to promote, to support, and to empower women who work at any aspect of the industry. And we do that through a number of different methods. So just to name a few of those methods for you. There we go. Okay. Now, like I mentioned, we do support and promote and provide for women in automotive in a number of different ways. So one of the ways we've recently done that is through a new Smart Business guidebook that we recently launched at the end of last year. That guidebook is called How to Attract, Recruit and Retain Women Working in the Australian Automotive Industry. We also work with powerhouses like Women in Leadership Australia to create industry-first scholarship opportunities, like our recent Elevate Initiative program. And when the world is not ending, we also host a number of events like networking events or book launch events, or our recent International Women's Day event where we had a panel of guest speakers of women who work across automotive. And it was a great event. We had over 120 guests. It sold out weeks in advance. So once the world is a little bit more back to normal, we'll hopefully be able to do some more of that. But in the meantime, we're doing online events like this. So we got there in the end. Okay, now just bring it back to what we're all here for today, our Instagram class. As I mentioned, this event is essentially an introduction to how to use Instagram, as well as a bit of a roadmap into how to navigate the app. So if you don't already have an Instagram account, or you have an Instagram account but it just sits there, doesn't really add any value to your business, this is the event for you. If you're already a pro, it may be a little bit basic for what you're looking for, but I personally believe there's no harm in always upskilling yourself. So you should hopefully find some tips no matter how advanced you are on the app. So today I will be discussing why you should be utilizing Instagram. So whether you're the person who will be managing it or you're trying to convince someone like a boss that you should have it, this will help to outline a few reasons why. I'll explain, and I will also show you by showing my phone screen how to navigate the app itself. We'll be discussing how to best use the Instagram Stories feature. And again, I will be showing it on my phone, so hopefully that should help as well. There we go. I will also be discussing some basic tips to improve organic engagement and reach on your account. Now, when I say organic engagement and reach, it essentially just means increasing the amount of people who are seeing your account on Instagram for free. So you're not paying to put it in front of other people. There are free, easy tricks to do that to help spread it as much as you can before you need to start paying to put it in front of the right people. Now, if you do have questions, I believe there's a chat feature on this, so feel free to put it in the chat section. Otherwise, if you want to wait until the end, we do have a Q&A session at the end, where if you need to, we can unmute you. Otherwise, you can type it on the chat and I can help to hopefully answer some of your questions. And to entice you to ask some questions, we also have some exclusive giveaways. Some of them are actually positioned behind me. Don't know if you can see our hats or our goodie bags. I'll discuss them a little bit more toward the end, but they're new, they're exciting, they're embroidered, they're great prizes if you ask me. So let's get into it today. So Instagram is the single best platform to give your business an online visual presence. It's essentially an online gallery. And today's customers will often search for a business of interest online, particularly on social media, before they do anything else. And the way that they interpret how your business is represented visually online will often play a big part in how they interpret the legitimacy of your business, what it is that you do, who you provide for, and where you are in the world, how accessible you are essentially. There are over 9 million monthly active users on Instagram just in Australia. And keep in mind that statistic's actually from January. So with the lockdown, that number has absolutely increased. The statistics on it just aren't readily available just yet. But there's at least 9 million monthly active users just in Australia and over 600 million active users worldwide. So it's definitely a worthwhile place for your business to be. That statistic means that there's approximately 1 in 3 Australians on Instagram. And within that amount, the main age category using the app is Generation Y. And depending on who you ask, that's roughly 25 to 35-year-olds. I consider myself Generation Y. My workplace often calls me a millennial. It's open for debate. But if your target market is anything that could be considered Generation Y, it's a great place for your business to be. Now, particularly as it pertains to automotive, Instagram can be a great tool because it's designed for mobile use. So it's most enhanced to be used on a mobile phone rather than on a computer. So if you have a more hands-on company or you have a more hands-on position within automotive, as long as you can fit a mobile in your pocket or anywhere on your person, you can create on-the-job content within reason. So it's not something that you need to dedicate an hour to sitting down at a computer or getting the latest technical equipment for. As long as you have a mobile, a smart mobile that can download an app, you can use Instagram and you can upload content to it as well. All right, so when it comes to navigating the app, if you're not already on it for a personal account, it can look a little bit intimidating, but it's not that hard once you get to know it. If you have your own Instagram account, I do suggest pulling out your phone right now and you can follow along on your own page. But if you don't have one, or if it's just easier for you to look at the screen, I have created a little diagram of our Women in Automotive account. Keep in mind, I took this screenshot for the diagram last week, so some of the content might have changed between now and then. So just going to start from the top. I will be using my cursor on the screen. I believe you can see it. Yes, you can. Okay, cool. So up the top here, we have the name of your account or the name of your business, essentially. We have the category that your company operates within. There's a short bio about who you guys are. And if you have a website, you can add a clickable link to your website. That is probably the single most handy feature of Instagram. Anyone who looks you up, if you have a website, they can look up your Instagram and straight away they'll be taken to your website if they choose to. So it's absolutely a great step to put on. The part here that says edit profile and promotions would only show up to you. So that shows up on my account because I manage this account. But if I was looking at your business's account, I would not see the word edit profile and I would not see promotions. Just below here, these circles, we have any Instagram story highlights that you may have created. I will get more into stories later on in this online event, but just so you know what those circles are, they're to see any story highlights. So we currently have 2 highlights at the moment. One is of our International Women's Day event in 2020. And we also have our current Instagram campaign, Women in Automotive at Home. So if you haven't already looked at those, you can head onto our profile and you'll see them straight away. Also, we'll preface this whole event with, if you aren't currently following us on Instagram, I would suggest doing that. And we'll go from there. Hi, Mick, I can see your chat. Okay, down here, all these images, that is any content that you have posted to your profile. So if this was a live feed of my phone, I could scroll down and it would show me everything I've ever posted to the Women in Automotive Instagram account. So when someone goes onto your account, they will see everything that you've posted in that layout, so in that grid sort of format. So you can see the grid button here that shows any content that you've posted. Excuse me, if you were to click this icon here, the text may be hidden behind the cameras, but if you can see this icon that there's a little person inside a square, that is any photo that your account has been tagged in. So if someone went to our Women's Day event, they took a picture with their friend in front of our beautiful neon sign, they might tag our account in that picture, and then it would show up on this little tab here in the same format that our own content does. So that's just a little layout of that part. Now down the bottom, we have the navigational points. So I know there's a lot of text explaining it. It's not actually that hard. They're pretty self-explanatory, but if you're not already aware, we'll go through them now. So from left to right, we have the little house icon over here, or the home button. That takes you to your personal feed of Instagram. So you might be following a few public figures or a few other businesses that you enjoy. If you are following them, you can click on this home button and it will take you to a feed of everyone that you're following, what they've recently shared. So it's not random people, you only get the occasional ad, but it's generally all the content that your interests have shared, the people that you're following have shared. Next that we have the explore button, or the magnifying glass. That tab displays a bunch of photos that are either performing very well on Instagram. That's to say that they're getting a lot of likes and a lot of comments and they're being seen by a lot of people. It will also show you photos that Instagram believes will be of interest to you. So on the Women in Automotive account, I'm often looking up a lot of pictures of car memes or of different car companies or of inspirational women's quotes, things along those lines. So when I personally click on this magnifying glass on our account, it shows me a bunch of images along those lines. Next that we have this little plus icon inside a square. That's the create button. So if you're wanting to add any new content to your account, if you want to upload a new picture, upload a new photo or a video, that's what you'd click to do that. Next to it, we have this little inbox button. Now, depending on who you ask, it's either a paper plane or an arrow. I personally believe it looks more like a paper plane. So if you were to click on that, it would take you to your inbox. It's kind of like Messenger on Facebook. So any direct messages that you've sent or received, you can click on that icon and you can see them all there. And then lastly, we have this little circle icon of your profile picture, or in our case, it's our logo. That takes you back to the page that we're currently on. So it takes you back to your account and your profile. So that's a little layout of the account or your profile page on Instagram. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go through every single page on Instagram, but I am going to go through this one. Now, I realize the videos may be in the way of this page. If that's the case, you can actually click and drag on the video pane and it will move it around as you need to. So if you can't see the little image that I've put up on the screen, just click and drag the video pane and you should be good to go. Alrighty, so this one is your home page. So remember before I said down the bottom, there's a little picture of a house, or the home button. If you were to click on that, it would take you to your home page. that, like I mentioned, shows all the recent content from the accounts that you personally follow, or that your business account follows. So in this case, we follow a company or an organization called the Girls Auto Clinic, and they posted a picture about raising strong women, which is right up our alley. So if I were live on my phone, I could scroll down and it would show me all the recent stuff that the people that we're following have posted. Up the top here, we have this little camera icon. That is where you would click if you wanted to add any content to your Instagram stories. Now, I will get more into that later, but just so we're aware what it is, that's what it does. Down here, we have all the recent stories from the accounts that we follow. So if it's got a highlighted circle around it, it's sort of like an orange and pink circle, that means that this person has a new story that I haven't seen yet. So Molly Rowley and Emma and Kylie, they all have new stories that I hadn't seen at this stage. If I had uploaded any pictures and anything to my stories on this day, our logo would also have that circle around it. But because I haven't actually uploaded anything on the day that I took this screenshot, it's just plain. Over here on the top right-hand corner, we have a little heart icon. That is your notifications. So anytime someone likes or comments on anything that you do, it'll pop up with a little spot on it, and you can click on that and you can see all the notifications. Again, it's quite similar to Facebook in that sense. Like I mentioned here, if you were to scroll down, it would just show you a bunch of posts from the accounts that you follow. If you wanted to interact or engage with any of those posts, you could use these buttons at the bottom. So the heart is to like the post or to heart the post. The speech bubble is if you wanted to comment on that post. And the little paper plane, in my opinion, the little paper plane icon will allow you to either share this post directly with someone else. So I will often share a post from my personal account if I'm following someone, and I'll share it to the Women in Automotive account, and that way I can find it later. So it basically just puts this picture into an instant message that you can send to whoever you need to directly. Or if you wanted to share this post to your stories, which again, I'll get more into later, you can click that button and add it to your story up here. And that's the main part of the home page. So again, if people want me to go into more about the various different pages, I can, but if you know how to navigate your own profile page and your home page, you're normally good to go. So we can go from there. Alrighty, now I am going to just share my phone screen. So one moment while I quickly do that on my computer. And I will be showing you how to create a post straight from that. There we go. Okay, now I believe you can all see my phone screen. If it does lag a little, I apologize, but hopefully it shouldn't. So this is our Women in Automotive account right now. This is exactly what I can see on our account. I'm gonna create a post. So again, if you have your own account, you can follow along. You don't have to post it at the end. You can just exit it all, but it will at least help you to go along the steps on the way. So if you click this little plus icon down the bottom here, remember that was the create button, you can click on that and it will come up with this. That's a very interesting picture, but it'll essentially show you all the recent pictures on your photo album. So if you wanted to take a live photo, you could click the word photo down the bottom here and it will take you to your camera. So that's what I can see right now. Hello, everyone. Otherwise, if you click on the word library, it'll take you to all the pictures and the videos in your photo album. So you can upload from there. So if you were on the job and you wanted to take a picture of the car that you're working on, for example, or a new delivery at your workplace, you can take a picture and then later on when you've got a minute, you can click on your Instagram and post it to your account. So if your image is a little bit, it's not of a square format, it might be quite tall, or it could be landscape, you can click this little expand icon on the side here and that will make it full screen. So that image, for example, happens to be quite square, but this image is not square. So that's how it normally comes up. And then if I click this little expand button, it'll put it back as it's meant to be. Depending on how tall or how wide your photo is, it won't fit the whole thing. In that case, you might need to just reassess which part of the photo you want to put on. But generally speaking, if it's a decent sized picture and decent layout, it should work. So I'm going to use this picture for the example. Once you're happy with the picture and the way that it's laid out, you can click this button up here that says next. So you hit next and it will take you to an editing page. Now, you may be someone who doesn't believe in editing any photos. I personally believe there's no harm in changing the way a photo looks in terms of how bright it is or how colorful it is or how many shadows are in the photo. So that's where this would come in handy. So all these things along the bottom here, as I scroll along, they're filters. So they'll change how your photo looks instantly. So if I click on this one that says Clarendon, Clarendon, it makes it a little bit brighter. If I click on Gingham, it gives it a little bit more vintage look. If I clicked on Moon, it makes it black and white. There's a whole bunch of options. So you can go through those. If you're happy with any of those, you can definitely use it. If none of them are really tickling your fancy, you can click back to normal at the beginning here, and you can click the word down here that says edit. And that will essentially let you make your own filter. So if you otherwise love this photo, but you just want it to be a little bit brighter, for example, you can click the brightness button and then just click and drag this little circle and it makes it either brighter or it makes it darker, depending on what you're wanting to do. If you're happy with that level of brightness, you can click done. And then once you're happy with that, you might want to go along. You can change any of the other factors. So if you're a bit more of a bright Instagram account, you can make it warmer. So again, just picking whatever you want. It's all a game of experimentation. So I personally will always make our photos a little bit brighter, a little bit warmer, and a little bit sharper, just depending on what it is. Sometimes it doesn't work very well. It's just a game of experimentation, like I said. So if you're happy with that, you can click done. Once you're done that, you can click next up the top here. And that essentially brings you to this page where you're finalizing your post. So you'll want to make a caption. It can be anything that you like. Just for the point of this example, I can just say, hello, women in automotive. If you want to, you can add emojis to it. On an iPhone, it'll just be this little button down here. Click on that, and you can add whatever you need to. If you're happy with the text and everything, you can click anywhere on the screen, it'll take you out of that. A handy thing to add is some hashtags. So depending on what you're posting and what the point of your account is, you can add a hashtag. If you have a private account, there's not much point in using hashtags. It won't really help you at all. If you have a business, you should generally have a public account that anyone can see, and that's where you'd want to use some hashtags. So for this instance, I can put the hashtag women in automotive. You'll generally want to make it relevant to either what your picture is or what your caption is. So if I have a picture of a car and my caption has something to do with women in automotive, I wouldn't then make a hashtag book because it has no relevance and it just looks silly, if you ask me. So the point of a hashtag is anyone who goes onto Instagram and is searching on the search button that I showed before, they can search for the hashtag of interest. So they might be interested in women who work in automotive, and they can type in the hashtag women in automotive, and that increases the chances that my photo will be shown to them. It doesn't guarantee that it'll be shown to them, but it will definitely increase the chances that they see it. Once you're happy with your caption up here, you can either tag some people if it's a picture of maybe a public figure, or if it's one of your staff who has a public account, something like that. You can always tag the people in it. Oops, sorry, my phone just locked. Another really great feature to use, some people will ignore it. We don't put on every picture, just when it's relevant, but a great feature is this location tag. So if you, I feel this Mick McKenna has just distracted me out the window. So if you click on any of these locational tags, we are personally based in Melbourne, Victoria, so I could tag that. If it was a picture at, on location somewhere, it could be at a member's dealership, we could tag the location of the dealership. It's whatever you'd like to do. So you can click on whichever tag you'd like to. Now, I personally manage a few different Instagram accounts. That's why there's 3 here. If you're only using your business account, it'll just show up with your business one. So normally this won't be here. But if you do manage a few accounts, just make sure you're clicking the right one. Another great thing to do is when you're setting up your Instagram, you can link the account to any other social media that you might have for your business. So we have a Women in Automotive Facebook account. So I've connected this previously to our Instagram when you're setting it up. If I wanted to share it directly to our Facebook, I could click this little button and it would share it directly to our Facebook. We don't have a Twitter and a Tumblr. We have a Twitter that it doesn't use. We just have it for the sake of placeholding our name. But if I wanted to share it to either of those, I could do that too. And then once you're done with that, all you need to do is click share and it will come up. I'm personally not going to post this picture to our account because it's a little bit random. But if you decide last minute that you don't want to hit it, or that you don't want to post it, just make sure you hit this little back arrow until you get out of the whole operation. And then you're back on your profile page. So that's how to navigate creating a post. Again, it's always going to be a little bit difficult if you're starting from the beginning. So you can just make sure that you're experimenting with it. If you have your personal account, that's a great tool to use as well. It's essentially the same layout, but there's no wrong answer really, just playing around with it, getting to know it. Once you've posted something, it becomes a lot easier. It's much less intimidating. So just go from there, and then all your posts will start showing up. So these are some of our recent posts, just for people to look at. Again, if you're not following our account, I don't know why, go and follow it. It's lots of fun. Just search on the search feature, Women in Automotive, and we'll pop up there. Yeah, there we go. There we are. So you can search for us. Okay, now, alrighty, so now I'm going to quickly show you guys how to use the stories feature. So let me just quickly make sure my screen's sharing correctly. Okay, good. Alrighty, so like I mentioned before, you can use the stories feature. So up in the top left-hand corner, we have the little camera icon. So if you click on that, it'll take you onto your camera. And once again, this is what's directly in front of me. So it's our little office that I'm doing this example from. If you wanted to post something live, you can just hold down the big white circle in the middle at the bottom, and that will either take a photo, or you can hold it down and it will take a video. So if you're wanting to do something at the time that you're posting it, that's a great option. Otherwise, if you click on the little square in the bottom left-hand corner, that will take you to any photos that you've got in your gallery. So like I mentioned, we've got some weird photos on my gallery at the moment. They're all appropriate though. I did check, but you can go whatever you need. So like I mentioned, if you're on location and you're meeting with a person of interest and you want to share it on your Instagram, you can take a picture or a video or a photo with them and it'll come up in your gallery later on, and then you can add it to your page. So for this example, I'm going to use this little picture of a little VW. If you wanted that to be the size of the full screen, all you need to do is put 2 fingers on the screen and just sort of zoom out. So if you put 2 fingers on the screen and then part them like that, it'll make the bigger picture or smaller. It's like zooming into any photo on your phone, essentially. So just put your fingers on, move them out, you're good to go. You can make it whatever size you'd like to make it. Let me see. If you wanted to add a filter like we did before when we were creating a post, all you need to do is swipe your finger across the screen from right to left. So if you swipe across, it brings up a filter. It's very subtle, but that one said the word Paris. So the next one I think is called Oslo. Basically, the more times that you do it, you'll get all the different filters. And you can see which one you'd like to use. You can go through all of them. There's a black and white one, I think. Let's see, yep, Tokyo. And if you don't like any of them, it'll go back to the beginning where it's just the regular picture as it was in your album. A great thing to do on stories is to add some text to it. So if you click anywhere on the photo, it'll pop up with a little text option. You can type anything that you'd like to type. And it'll pop up. Now there's a few different options on here. Up on the top where it says the word strong in like a circular rectangle, if you click that, it'll change the font of the writing. There's about 5 or 6 fonts, I think, on Instagram stories. So the more times that you click it, it'll change the font again for you. And you can choose whichever font you'd like to use. Some fonts have the ability to highlight the word. So if you see next to the word classic at the top, there's an A in a square. If you click on that A, it'll highlight the word, make it a little bit easier to read. Not all fonts have the highlight feature. So if you keep clicking through the fonts, Modern, for example, doesn't have a highlight feature, and Neon doesn't have a highlight feature because there's no little A in the square at the top. So the typewriter font does have highlight, so I can highlight that one. If you're wanting to change the color of any of the text, you can just click on the colored circles above the keyboard. So if you want to change it to blue, you can do that. If you wanted to change the words instead of the highlight, pick a color and then highlight it, and then you can change them as you need. That. So I'm just going to use blue for this instance. If the text is really big and it's spread out quite far, you can click and drag the circle on the side of the screen, this one here that's moving, and that will change the size of it'll more or less change the layout of your text. So if you want it to be quite tall and single words, you can take it all the way to the top. If you want it to be quite short and one line, you can take it all the way to the bottom. That changes the layout. It doesn't actually change the size, because if you were to click the word done up in the top right corner and then click and drag the word, it'll move. And again, if you use 2 fingers on the words, that'll actually change the size for you. So when we click onto the text, this circle on the side just changes the layout of the text. It doesn't actually change the size of it. If you're wanting to change the size of the text, that's when you do the 2-finger trick and you just click and drag. So I'm not sure if that's at all helpful for people, but essentially just do that. Okay, so I'm going to put that down here. Another great feature for businesses on Instagram is to use stickers. So up in the top, with all the little widgets up the top, there's a smiley face with a square, and it's kind of being peeled off a bit like a sticker. So if you click on that, it'll come up with all these different sticker options. Now, the ones at the top that say support small business and stay home, they're generally what we would call current stickers. So it's right now they're all in theme with the whole lockdown COVID-19 climate. We personally don't really use any of those stickers except for the stay home one at times, because we're not like a brick and mortar store or anything like that. Some great stickers for businesses to use on the Instagram, again, is the location sticker. So if you click on the location, it'll just come up with a bunch of locations that happen to be around you or locations that you've previously tagged. If none of the ones are popping up that you want, you can just search for it. You can tag like business locations. So if your automotive shop, for example, could be Bob's Auto, you can type in Bob's Auto, and if you're standing there, it should come up as an actual location. You can pick which one you'd like. So I'm just going to pick Melbourne, Victoria. If you tap on the location, it'll change the design. So there's 3 different designs. You can do purple and white, sort of transparent, or rainbow. So we're just going to use rainbow for this instance. And again, just click and drag it as you like around the screen. And you can make it bigger or smaller by using your 2 fingers to adjust that as well. If we go back to the stickers up in the top with the smiley face up there, you can have a look at some more options. So another one that I will often use on our Women in Automotive account is the GIF or the GIF feature. So that's the one in the middle that says GIF. If you just click on that, it'll come up with a bunch of trending GIFs. So they're not really relevant to anything that we do. Sometimes they are. If none of them are tickling your fancy, you can just put your finger in the search section up the top and you can type in what you need. So I might want to add a little GIF of a car. You can type in car. Another popular one that you can add is something like sparkle, which I'm quite prone to using, different sparkles. You can type in women, although that does sometimes come up with some really random ones. Anything that you want. It could be a wrench, you know, anything that applies to what you're posting. I always try and make things relevant to what you're posting. So in this case, I'm posting a picture of a car and I'm saying hello women in automotive. So decorative things like sparkles or streamers, anything like that I could add, or things to do about cars, or things to do with VWs, or things to do with road trips that would be relevant. But I wouldn't necessarily look at that and then add a random, for example, a random Furby at the bottom. Wouldn't really be relevant. So try and just make sure you're doing things that make sense. So I'm just going to put a sparkle on because, as discussed, I quite enjoy some sparkles. And again, it's right in the middle. It's a little bit hard to see there, but if you click on the sparkle, you can move it around just like the text and just like the location. So now it's up in the top corner. And again, if you use your 2 fingers, you can make the sparkles bigger or smaller. So it's all just things about experimenting. I work in social media and it does actually take me a while to pick up on different tips and tricks. So you're never going to be, wrong, essentially. Okay. If we go back to the stickers at the top and hit cancel, it'll take you back to the main sticker page. Another really popular one that you could add is the poll feature. So where it says poll here in the middle, if you click on that, it comes up with a poll. It's a yes or no. It doesn't have to be yes or no. It could be more specific. In this instance, I could say, what's the best VW color? And I could put blue or red. I don't know if they come in red. We'll find out. And I could do that. I could change the question to, are VWs the best car in the world? And I can make it yes or no. So it's very up to you. You can completely customize it. Once you're done, you just click done at the top again. And again, you can just move it around with your finger, or if you use 2 fingers, you can make it bigger or smaller as you need. There we go. If you add something and then at a later point decide you don't want that, so I could look at this whole thing and say, I don't want the sparkles at the top, they're a bit distracting. All I need to do is click and hold on the sparkles and drag them, and the little trash can icon will appear at the bottom. So if you click and drag the sparkles down to the trash can and hold it over, it deletes it for you. So you can add 110 different things just to figure out which ones you like the most. And then once you're good to go, you can just delete the ones that you don't like. Other than that, if you wanted to not highlight the word, if the highlight feature wasn't really working for you, you can just click the little A and unhighlight it. And then if you click this little squiggly sign right next to the uppercase and lowercase a in the top right corner, click the squiggly, and that essentially turns your phone into an episode of Paint. So you can draw lines as you like, whatever you need to do. You can scribble all of that. If you don't like the drawing, just click undo up in the top left-hand corner and it will all go away. A great thing I will often do if I'm not feeling the highlight on a word is I'll select this pen feature, and then up the top, there's a few different pen styles or heads. So I'll click the one in the middle, which is like a highlighter or a thick pen. And then along the side here, there's this little circle that you can move up and down. That increases or decreases the size of the pen. So if I increase it all the way to the top, and then I pick a color other than white, I could pick blue, for example, I can highlight behind the word. And it just looks a little bit more artistic. It might be just what I, something that tickles my fancy, really. So it's totally up to you guys. You can draw a heart somewhere. Oops, that's a bit ugly. If you make the pen a bit smaller, you can draw other stuff like this. If you wanted to draw an arrow, if you're pointing to something, you can do that. It's completely customizable. You could write your whole name. I'm not going to do that. It's very long. And you can go from there. So once you're happy with the overall design of the pen, just make sure you click done. Otherwise, you'll just keep drawing stuff. Once you're happy with the whole design of your story, all you need to do is down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can click send to. Click on that. If you're a business, you're generally just going to be sending it to your story. So the first one, it says your story, and then it says share in a blue rectangle. All you have to do is click the share and it will go to your Instagram story. If you, for whatever reason, wanted to send it to a specific person, you can just find them in this list. These are the people that we follow. So you can do that quite easily. Again, I'm not going to actually share this one because it's a little bit random, but I'll just discard it and we'll be good to go. And that takes us back to our main page. And if I click the little picture of our profile picture on the bottom right-hand corner, it takes me back to our profile. And you can go from there. Okay, so now that we've gone over how to navigate the app, the basic navigational points, how to post an image to your Instagram account, and how to use the stories feature, I strongly suggest trialing it yourself. Just have a little go. You can go all the way up into actually posting it and then just delete it if you want to. So always a great thing to practice at. And again, Instagram's really prone to updating quite frequently. So if you choose to look at it the next day, it could be. Okay, so Now that we've done that, I'm going to move on to some of the basic tips on improving your organic engagement and your organic reach on Instagram. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, organic engagement is essentially how many people are liking or commenting or sharing or interacting with your account or your posts for free. So they're just doing it because it happens to be there and it happens to be of interest, rather than you're paying Instagram to put it in front of them. Organic reach just means like the number of people that are interacting with you. So engagement means how many people are actively engaging with you, and reach means how many people are seeing your content and your account. So first rule of thumb is you need to give a little in order to get a little, like most things in life. So if your account is not engaging with anyone, it's unlikely that people will engage with you. So I personally will spend a portion of my day when I'm at work just going through our Women in Automotive Instagram account, and I'll be liking or commenting on relevant other accounts. So we follow a number of public figures who work in automotive. We follow a number of automotive businesses. We follow some sort of female empowerment accounts, things that are quite in line with our brand. We also just follow a bunch of accounts that happen to be based in Melbourne. So you can be following accounts that are relevant to your geographical location, to the industry that you're operating in, or it could just be ones of interest that have similar target markets to you. Okay, so a good way to structure that is try to engage on your account 15 minutes before you post something and 15 minutes after you post it. Because essentially the amount of people that are seeing your account closer to the time that you post it is the more likely Instagram, the number of people who see your picture when you post it, more likely Instagram is to show it to more people. So the more engagement that you get closer to the time that you're actually posting, it'll help your odds in the end. I've just seen a question. Possible to add your so it's just a question from the National Collision Repairer. I might just wait until the end. Sorry, don't totally understand what you're asking, but I will come back to it at the end. So I haven't forgotten you, but I'll just come to it in a little bit. Now, back to improving your organic engagement. Try to follow a schedule on your Instagram. So whether you're posting something once a day or you're posting something once a month, ideally not once a month, once a day or once every couple of days, try and stick to that schedule. So if you're posting something once a day for 2 weeks and then you have a month of not posting anything, it's going to take your account back to point 0 in terms of organic engagement and organic reach. So it's something that I personally struggle with a little bit. It's hard to stick to schedules, but it is something to always try and work on. So it doesn't have to be the exact same time on the exact same day every day of the week. It just needs to be relatively consistent. So consistency is absolutely key when it comes to improving the odds for your own engagement. When you are posting something, like I showed before, you can put hashtags into the caption, and that essentially increases the odds that other people who are searching for similar content to yours will see it. When you are putting hashtags into your caption, try to just use a few well-chosen hashtags or well-researched hashtags. So like I said, if I'm posting something, a picture of a car that is a VW car, and I put a hashtag that says book or placemat or something like that, it's not going to have much relevance to the photo. So try and research ones that are popular in your industry or in your market. So one that we often will use is hashtag women in automotive and hashtag women as 2 separate hashtags. If it's something about like one of our events, I can use the hashtag event or hashtag Melbourne event. Just try and make it informed. Even better, if you can integrate the hashtags into your caption rather than adding them all at the end, that's also a great tool. So if you're saying, can't wait to host our event in Melbourne on Sunday the 12th, if you can hashtag the word event and hashtag Melbourne within your caption, that'll work better than using all those words and then just adding them as a hashtag again at the bottom. It just makes it a little bit cleaner, and for some reason, Instagram algorithms will generally enjoy that. Another great tip is UGC, or user generated content. So depending on how many followers you have on your account, user-generated content can be great. So we personally have about 260 followers. So we don't really use UGC that much yet, but once we start to get closer to 300 or 400, it can be a great feature to help increase your engagement and increase your reach. So user-generated content essentially just means content that one of your followers is creating about you. So for example, if you have a car dealership, you might have a prop or a backdrop that new car buyers can take a picture with. So it could be like a bow that you can put on top of the car that has your company name on it, or has your social media name on it, or it has like a hashtag to do with your business on it. That's a great option. That way people are more likely to post it and they might include the hashtag. Another tip is when people are buying a car, you can put some sort of incentive in their new car package, essentially, that says, share a picture and tag us on Instagram, and you'll get 5% off the next car you purchase. Something a bit smarter than that, but that's the idea. If you in another industry, for example, the one time that we've really used UGC so far is through our current Instagram campaign called Women in Automotive at Home, where we essentially get a public figure, women within automotive, to take over our Instagram stories and post a bit about their day in lockdown or in self-isolation. And at the end, they'll invite the audience who are watching to share what they're doing on their day in lockdown using the hashtag Women in Automotive at Home. So that invites other people to put up an Instagram story on their own account, saying, it could be a picture of their desk space, for example, and they could say, this is how I'm working from home, hashtag Women in Automotive at Home. That way we'll see it. Other people who are looking for Women in Automotive at Home will see it, and it will help to increase your reach, essentially. It might drive more people towards your account. They're just two quite specific examples, but there's tons and tons of ways that you can use user-generated content or UGC. And the last little tip down the bottom there is the time that you post absolutely makes a difference. So if you're posting your best picture from the week at 11:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, the chances that people are going to be on Instagram at 11:30 p.m. on a Sunday night are relatively slim. Some people might do that. Generally speaking, the greater population won't be on Instagram. And like I mentioned earlier, the more people that engage with your content closer to the time that you post it, the better it will perform organically. So some industries, if you're looking at professionals or students, for example, 5 p.m. can be a really popular time because it's when people are finishing work. They're having a quick break on their phone. They could be on public transport, so they're looking through their social media. It's a great time to post. It's not the same for every industry, and it's not the same for everyone. A great way to find out what the best time to post could be to experiment. So when I started our Instagram account in September last year, I tried posting a few items at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, and then I tried posting a few items at 4 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, and a bunch of other times and days in between. And then I looked at which ones seemed to be performing better and which ones seemed to be getting more engagement closer to the time that I actually posted it. And then you try and find whichever ones are going more popular, and you try and stick to that. So it doesn't mean that you only post, if you find, for example, that a post that you put up on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. worked really well for you and it got lots of likes and lots of comments, doesn't mean that every post that you put up at 12 p.m. on a Tuesday is going to work, but it does show you that your audience are clearly online at that time. So you try and get it close to that time within reason without being robotic about it, essentially. And that can definitely help with some of your organic engagement. So, okay, technical difficulty again for 1 second. Let's have a look here. Alrighty, so I think that's most of the topic today. And now we've got our little Q&A and giveaway time. Look at those beautiful images. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the online event, we are having a quick little Q&A session. So if you did have any questions throughout the online event, feel free to put them in the chat feature now. I'll have a quick look. Where is the chat feature? There we go. And we can go from there. Just to give you a little idea of what the giveaways are, the prizes are. We recently got our new 2020 Women in Automotive merchandise, which is our beautiful new hats. They're very lovely. They're embroidered. They've got logo on the back. It says Driving Diversity at the back there as well. Imogen and I, Dr. Imogen and I have been wearing them out and about. I personally wear it on my daily walks, which have been fantastic in lockdown. So great to go out and do a daily walk. If you're not too keen on the hat for whatever reason, I don't know what it could be, we do have some of our Women's Day goodie bags around. So let me see here. So these again are some Women in Automotive merchandise. So we've got our lovely tote bag, beautiful handles up here, and the goodie bags have a bunch of collateral in them. So we've got a free copy of our How to Attract, Recruit and Retain Women in the Automotive Industry guidebook. There's some handouts from Women in Leadership Australia about our Elevate Initiative scholarship program. We have some little phone holders from Motorsports Australia. There's a bottle of a can of Red Bull. And we also have a lucky dip of either a Women in Automotive bottle or a Women in Automotive keep cup. So definitely something that everyone can use. But I'm going to quickly just have a look. Oh, a few pictures are coming in. Sorry, a few chats are coming in. Alrighty, so let's have a look here. All right, we've got one from Ebony. Hi, Ebony. How you doing? All right, so it says, hi, Isabella. I schedule my Instagram posts. Is there an option to schedule stories? Great question. Unfortunately, not yet. So that's the one catch with stories, is that you can create content in advance and keep it on your phone, but you are going to have to go onto the app. To my knowledge, at least, I may be wrong. You do need to go onto the app at the time that you'd like to post it. I know for us, for example, when we're doing our Women in Automotive at Home feature, sometimes it's someone's going live on one of my days off. So what I'll do is I'll create the content that I want and just download it to my phone. And then when it comes to the day of, I will quickly upload what I need to. And then that way I'm only having to monitor. I don't have to do anything else. So great question, Ebony. I will message you and you can have your pick of a Women in Automotive cap or a Women in Automotive goodie bag. Well done. Let's see here. Someone from Alice saying, I missed quite a bit of the webinar. Would it be, is there a recording somewhere I can watch? Absolutely, Alice. So this whole webinar is being recorded and it will be uploaded to our Women in Automotive website at a later date. Ideally later today. We all know how I am with technical stuff, so it may take a day or two. So I will let you know. I will post it on Instagram once we've got it up on the website. But if you're wanting to have a look in the meantime, once again, our website is womeninautomotive.com.au. So just have a look there. Again, Alice, I'm going to message you and you can have your pick of a Women in Automotive cap or your pick of a Women in Automotive goodie bag. We've got one from Vicky. Hi, Mum. How you doing? I've got, Mum says, can the hats be purchased? And if yes, how much? They look great. Another great question. Like I mentioned, we only got the hats in last 2 weeks ago, maybe. So we haven't actually structured whether we can have them as purchasable yet. But definitely, if you guys are interested in buying the hats, let us know. So send us a message on Instagram, send us an email, like us on Facebook, just let us know somewhere. I did put up a picture of our hats on Instagram, so you can always go to that and comment on it that you'd like to buy them. And if there's enough demand, I will chat to the woman in charge and we'll see what we can do. Again, Mum, you can have a hat or a bag. Good job. One from Emma. Do you think you can post too many stories in a day? Fantastic question, Emma. Yes, is the short answer. I mean, look, it has changed recently with the whole lockdown situation in Australia, at least, where more accounts are posting more stories more frequently because they know that there's more people online. There is proven research to show that if someone sees that there's a bunch of stories on an account, they won't bother looking at them. They'll just flick through to the next person. So it can be a turn-off if there's too many stories on. A good rule of thumb, if it's relevant and if you have content, try to post 2 to 3 Instagram stories a day or every second day. But again, try and make some sort of regularity. So if you're posting every day or every second day and people are viewing it, it'll start increasing your stance on their Instagram. So Instagram's more likely to show your story before other people to these people that are viewing you regularly. So a great question. And you can also choose between a Women in Automotive cap or one of our goodie bags. So I will email everyone who's asked a question and get your preference, and we will get that organised. And now I've got a lovely question from Bronwyn. Let's have a look here. Hi, Isabella, content creation. I'm pretty good at highlighting random days like Mother's Day, for example, but I struggle with general automotive content, garage owner, but not a mechanic. Any suggestions? Great question, Bronwyn. And I hear you. So if anyone does follow our Instagram, you will see that our content is quite random and quite varied because we aren't a very specific organization. We have a lot of different target audiences, and we have a lot of different interests within what we do. So what I have leaned towards on our account is I will often post a mixture of car-related memes or puns, as well as some more women empowerment quotes or just general motivational quotes, because I have found that they seem to be the ones that get the best reaction from our audience. And it also shows that we're, in my mind, the memes and the puns show that we're quite accessible, we're quite modern, and we're sort of up with the times, I guess. In saying that, we do need to be careful about the ones that we pick. I would never pick one. For example, I find a lot of memes when I'm searching for them that will put down, for example, a Subaru over a Mercedes for whatever meme related reason. I generally won't do something that could be offensive. It'll only be things that I genuinely find funny and that are in line with what we represent as an organization. So if you are working as a garage owner but not a mechanic, a few different options. Again, experiment and see what works for you. But the car memes is also great. Always great, because the people who are following your account are generally interested in automotive content because they're following you as an automotive business, and everyone likes a bit of fun. So that's where I find car related or automotive related memes and puns to be a good option. Otherwise, one that you could look at doing is getting some nice shots. So depending on, I mean, I have an iPhone 10 at the moment and it has a really good camera on it. I've had other phones up until quite recently and the cameras aren't too bad either. Just take your time one day. If you happen to have half an hour spare, or if you happen to have a half a day spare, just walk around your garage and you can get some different images. It could be an image of one of your staff fixing something. It could be a time-lapse video of them fixing something. It could be a photo of your reception area. It could be a photo of your building as it presents to the street. So there's a few different options, but definitely play around. But if you need some inspiration, try automotive related comedy and original content of your garage, because it's always great. You could have an account that literally only reshares other stuff, but you always want to include some original content. So we often will post images of when our hats came in, or we'll post images from when we host events, or images of when we meet with a new organization, something like that. So you want original content as well as other things as well. Let's see here. I've got Jackie saying, I missed most of this webinar as I couldn't connect. Yeah, so Jackie, the webinar is recorded, so it'll be uploaded to our website, womeninautomotive.com.au at a later date, ideally later today, but as we've all discovered, I'm not the most technical person, so it may take me a day or two to figure out how to upload it, but I will let everyone know via our Instagram. I'll put up a post or a story even, now that we all know how to do that, once it is live on our website, and you can have a look at that. We'll go from there. Okay, how do you add a link to the Instagram story? Great question from the National Collision Repair. Not the best answer though. Unfortunately, it depends on how many followers you have. So to my knowledge, you can't add a swipe up link on an Instagram story, which people may have seen when they're following larger accounts. You can't add a swipe up link until you have, I believe, might be 1,000 or 10,000. I can't remember. One of those numbers is ringing a bell. I think it's 10,000 followers. It's annoying, but to my knowledge, you can't have that feature until you have enough following. Another thing to keep in mind is that depending on your business, you'll have different stickers. So when I was showing the Instagram stories, and I said you could add a sticker like the polls or like the GIFs or like the location sticker, depending on your business, you'll have different stickers. So on my personal account, I have a music sticker, so I can add music over the top of any of my Instagram stories. On our business account, we don't have that because Instagram, for whatever reason, thinks that we're making money off of copyrighted content. Some business accounts have the music feature, some don't. There's no real rhyme or reason to it, but it's a long process when I'm chatting with my other social media community members about trying to get that feature on every account. So yeah, basically, the short answer, you can't add a swipe up link until you have quite a large following, unfortunately. A few thanks from people. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Jackie, definitely like the hat. Thank you, Jackie. I like it too. It's very cool. It's lovely. It's high quality. It's great. Everyone who's asking a question will be getting either a hat or a goodie bag. So congratulations. Let's see. Emma says, is there an ideal time to reply to direct messages and comments? Emma, another great question. The ideal time is as soon as you can. It sucks, but that's kind of part of the job of social media management. So not to say I'm overworking myself, Imogen, but if someone sends us a message at midnight, I will try, if I'm awake, I will try and reply to it as soon as I can. Just because the speed that you reply to something on social media, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, will build your account's reputation. So for Facebook, for example, there's actually a stat that is viewable to all your followers showing how quick your response time is. So that one's viewable. It's not viewable on Instagram, but it does affect how much Instagram does for you. So the quicker you're replying to someone, the more that Instagram enjoys you and likes you and will help you with organic reach and engagement. So don't drive yourself nuts and reply to it at all hours of the night. People will just need to learn that not to send you a message at 2 a.m. But if you are available and if you have the answer handy, reply. If you don't know what the answer is to their question, just say, hey, thanks for sending a question in. Let me get back to you, or let me ask this person, or let me refer you to this resource. And you can go from there. Okay. Jackie said my question's been answered. That's great. Fantastic. And from naturally, yeah, so you do need to get some more followers before you can have the swipe up link, but everyone has to start somewhere. So we have only had our Instagram account at Women in Automotive since September last year. And we only have 260 something followers, which to some people might seem like a lot. To me personally, it does not seem like that much, but it's definitely a process. So the more you do in it, the better it can grow. If your account goes from 0 to 100 followers overnight, generally Instagram will think that you're buying followers and it won't help you do anything organically. So the slow burn is definitely annoying, but it's a good thing in the end. It shows Instagram that you're a legitimate account. You're not just some robot from God knows where, and you are an actual person. Okay. So if there's any more questions, speak now, forever hold your peace. Let's see. All right, well, I do believe that's all of our questions today. So once again, thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in. We've had quite a few different people popping in and out, so I really, really do appreciate that. If you guys liked the event, let us know on Instagram or on any other platform. We'll try and get more as it's relevant. But other than that, I hope everyone's having a safe, whatever we are, social distancing time. I don't think it's technically lockdown anymore, but a safe time. And hopefully we can get our in-person Women in Automotive events up and running sooner rather than later once it's safe. So hopefully we can see you all there. But until then, we will see you on social media and see you online. So thanks to everyone, and I'll chat to you all later once I figure out how to hang up. All right, bye everyone.